The year is 1620. After 66 days lost at sea, a battered ship called the Mayflower finally drops anchor in the silent, frozen waters off Cape Cod. For William Bradford, the nightmare of the voyage was over. But his real horror was just beginning. Because when he returned from a scouting mission on shore, he was given news so devastating it would have broken most men for good. His young wife, Dorothy, was dead. But she didn't die from the sickness sweeping the ship. The official story: she fell from the deck into the icy, black water and drowned. But here's the question that history has never truly answered: was it really an accident? The timing is beyond suspicious. They've just survived an impossible journey. The new world is right in front of them. And in that moment of hope, she supposedly slips. Some whispered it was a tragic accident brought on by exhaustion and despair. Others point to something far darker. This single, shocking moment was the catalyst that would create one of America's most famous leaders, and fuel a mystery that still persists today. The Mayflower had arrived. It was November 9, 1620, a date that would go down in American history. But if the Pilgrims were hoping for calm seas and fair weather, they were quickly disappointed. A violent storm tossed the ship about like a toy boat in a bathtub. Winds screamed, waves crashed, and the vessel began to spring terrifying leaks. In the dim light of the lantern, fear flickered across the faces of the passengers. All around them, the Atlantic churned, dark and unforgiving. And then, like a cruel joke from an uncaring God, the wind suddenly dropped. An eerie silence blanketed the ocean, broken only by the creaking of the ship. It felt like the entire world was holding its breath. In the hold below, along the masts and rigging, lay a woman, pale and still. Her name was Dorothy Bradford, the wife of William Bradford, one of the leaders of this perilous journey. Her breathing shallow, her eyes closed, she was in a deep slumber, a slumber from which she would never wake. At first, it was just a cold. A hacking cough echoed in the cramped quarters of the Mayflower, rattling Dorothy and dozens of others. The ship, meant to carry 100 passengers, was packed with 51. Now, on this stormy November day, there was barely enough food and water to go around. And every time someone succumbed to the disease, fear and whispers spread like wildfire. Now, what happened next remains a mystery. On November 8th, according to William Bradford, his wife left the ship in the afternoon. He said he was working in the hold below deck when he heard a splash. When he rushed to the top deck, Dorothy was nowhere to be seen. They searched, but the vast ocean offered no answers. No lifeboat was scheduled for that day. By the next morning, her body was found floating in the sea. But not everyone was convinced. In those dark days aboard the Mayflower, fear ran rampant. The sight of Dorothy's lifeless form only fanned the flames of suspicion. Whispers turned to accusations. Some claimed foul play, suggesting that someone had pushed her into the water, ending her life. Others pointed fingers at the rough seas, arguing that a rogue wave had snatched her away. Was it an accident or was there something more sinister at play? Why did Dorothy leave the ship? Why wasn't anyone keeping watch? Why did nobody hear her scream? What really happened on that fateful day? These questions echoed through the survivors, tormenting them day and night. To them, it didn't matter that William Bradford was one of their leaders, a man of God who had stood by them through the hardships of the journey. Doubts festered like a wound, poisoning the trust between the passengers. As the Mayflower struggled on, the mystery deepened. The survivors grappled with their grief, their fear and their anger. Accusations flew, tearing apart the fragile bonds that held them together. But amidst the turmoil, there was one person who remained steadfast, a beacon of strength and resilience, William Bradford. Now, when Dorothy died, William Bradford was beside himself with grief. His wife, his partner, the woman who had stood by him through thick and thin, was gone. But amidst his sorrow, a steely resolve formed within him. He was determined to uncover the truth, to find answers in the face of tragedy. His grief, though profound, was overshadowed by his unwavering pursuit of justice for Dorothy. So, He began his investigation. He talked to crew members, piecing together the final moments of Dorothy's life. He combed through the ship's logs, searching for clues, any sign that could shed light on the mystery. He needed answers, not just for himself, but for Dorothy's memory. As days turned into weeks, the search continued, driven by Bradford's relentless determination. He was a man possessed, his every waking moment dedicated to solving this enigma. And then came the moment that shifted everything. In a tattered logbook, hidden away and almost forgotten, Bradford discovered a crucial piece of information. It was a record of the ship's movements, a testament to their harrowing journey. But as he pored over the brittle pages, something caught his eye. A date, a time, a chilling detail that sent a shiver down his spine. There, staring back at him, was the entry for November 8th, the day Dorothy vanished. And scrawled next to it, a cryptic note, a woman missing. It was a simple statement, yet it held the weight of 1,000 unspoken questions. Who had made the entry? Why was it hidden? And what did it mean for the mystery of Dorothy's disappearance? With renewed vigor, Bradford shared his findings with the crew. Together, they delved deeper into the mystery, combing through every available record, every scrap of information related to the missing woman. The quest for answers became a shared purpose, uniting the crew in their pursuit of truth. Their shared grief and determination forged an unbreakable bond. They examined the ship, the Mayflower, searching for clues, anything that could provide a piece of the puzzle. Every creak of the aging vessel, every stain, every scar told a story. And they listened intently, hoping to catch a whisper of the truth in the ship's lament. It was a grueling process, but their commitment never wavered. They were driven by an insatiable need to understand what had happened to Dorothy, to honor her memory by seeking justice. But as the investigation deepened, the crew faced a disheartening reality. Their search for answers was met with frustrating dead ends. Clues seemed to evaporate, witnesses offered conflicting accounts, and the mystery only grew more tangled. The emotional toll was immense. Each unanswered question, each ambiguous lead tore at their resolve. Fear, suspicion, and despair threatened to engulf them, casting long shadows over their already strained relationships. The unity that had bound them together began to fray, and the prospect of finding the truth seemed increasingly elusive. Yet even in the face of these challenges, William Bradford refused to give up. His determination to uncover the truth remained steadfast, a guiding light in the darkness. Day after day, he and the crew persisted, their collective grief fueling their determination. Despite the dwindling hope, they clung to the belief that justice for Dorothy was worth the relentless pursuit. Now, eventually, their efforts bore fruit. In a moment of serendipity, or perhaps divine intervention, they stumbled upon a vital piece of evidence. It could be a piece of fabric, a torn diary page, an eyewitness account, or even a whispered rumor. Whatever the form, this discovery served as a pivotal turning point in their investigation. It offered a glimmer of hope in a sea of despair, rekindling their determination to uncover the complete truth behind Dorothy's disappearance. Now, armed with this newfound lead, the crew redoubled their efforts. They followed every new lead, interrogated every potential witness, and scrutinized every scrap of evidence. The momentum of their investigation picked up, driven by the promise of closure. As the pieces of the puzzle began to fall into place, they drew closer to unraveling the mystery that had haunted them for so long. However, the path to justice was rarely straightforward. Unexpected roadblocks emerged, false leads multiplied, and the specter of doubt loomed large. But through it all, William Bradford's resolve remained unbroken. He rallied the crew, bolstering their spirits whenever their determination faltered. Together, they navigated the twists and turns of the investigation, their collective grief and determination serving as their compass. Despite the setbacks, the search continued relentlessly. Days turned into weeks, and the crew's hope began to dwindle. Yet Bradford refused to surrender. He knew that the truth, elusive as it was worth fighting for. It was a battle against not just the mysteries, but also against despair itself. As the investigation neared its end, the crew prepared themselves for the truth, whatever form it might take. Closure, they knew, could bring both relief and pain. But they were ready to face it, united by their shared ordeal and bound together by the pursuit of justice for Dorothy. However, as the mystery deepened, suspicion began to creep in. Some accused the ship's crew of negligence, claiming they had failed to keep watch properly and allowed Dorothy to slip away unnoticed. Others pointed fingers at fellow passengers, fanning old grudges and whispering accusations in the dimly lit corners of the ship. Accusations flew, tearing at the fragile fabric of trust that held the community together. It was a maelstrom of emotions, a tempest of grief, anger and suspicion that threatened to consume them. Fear took root, twisting itself around their hearts. Every creak of the ship, every gust of wind carried whispers of conspiracy and deceit. The tight-knit community fractured, divided by mistrust and doubt. Even the strongest bonds were tested as suspicion became a corrosive force, eating away at the foundations of their shared experience. And as the accusations grew louder, the crew found themselves at a crossroads. They could let the whispers tear them apart, or they could stand together, united against the darkness that threatened to engulf them. Would they choose unity, or would they succumb to the whispers of suspicion? Now, in a moment of unity, the crew decided to confront the growing discord head-on. They gathered together, their faces illuminated by the flickering light of the lanterns, and committed themselves to finding the truth. They pledged to stand united against the darkness, promising to support one another through the turbulent seas that lay ahead. Their collective determination to overcome the odds and uncover the truth behind Dorothy's disappearance became their North Star. With renewed vigor, they delved deeper into the mystery, leaving no stone unturned, questioning every detail and seeking clarity in the midst of the chaos. Their unity became their strength, propelling them forward in their quest for answers. This unity forged in the fires of adversity served as a guiding light, illuminating their path forward. They leaned on each other, sharing their fears, their suspicions, and their hopes. This shared vulnerability created a bond that transcended their differences. It was a testament to the power of the human spirit, the ability to come together in the face of unimaginable challenges and emerge stronger, more resilient and determined than ever before. As they continued their investigation, the crew remained steadfast in their commitment to uncovering the truth, honoring Dorothy's memory and preserving the unity that had become their lifeline in the face of adversity. Their story was a reminder that even in the darkest of times, hope, unity, and the relentless pursuit of truth can guide them through the stormiest of seas. Hey, guys, thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please subscribe and join us on our historical journey. Your support means everything to us. Until next time, stay curious and keep exploring the past.